Okay. Strange. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. So, as the title and thumbnail suggest, the report is out from the White House, and I got to tell you, it's pretty meh as far as what's going to happen with the regulatory clarity of digital assets and making the United States the bellwether for Bitcoin moving forward. So we'll get into all that. But of course, today, market didn't like that. Market didn't like that. Market didn't also like the fact that Jerome Powell didn't cut rates. I don't know anybody who thought that he would, but here we are. Even the S&P 500 is down a little bit today. So the TradFi people are also feeling the sting, but not as much as us. Now, this was actually put out today, July 30, 2025. The fact sheet of the President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets releases recommendations to strengthen American leadership. And I'll link this in the description. You can read it yourself. It's quite boring. But really, it just kind of comes as a roundabout like, hey, great job. We did it. And just keep pushing forward. Hopefully, we can get some legal clarity. But maybe I'm just being too cynical. This is why I bring it to you so you can make your decision of, is this totally awesome? Or is this just meh? Anyhow, here's what we got. Ushering in the golden age of crypto. And they gave just a little history of what President Trump has done so far as moving crypto and digital assets along. I got to tell you, he's done a pretty stellar job compared to the last administration. I think we can all agree there, even though somehow, some miracle, we got an ETF pushed through by the SEC and Gary Gensler being the tying vote that actually pushed it. I was amazed as well. However, we did give away of Operation Choke Point 2.0, so that is good. But here's what they're saying in this report. Let's position America as the leader in digital asset markets. A fit-for-purpose market structure framework is essential to support growth and innovation in the digital assets industry. A lot of buzzwords, not a lot of action here. The SEC and CFTC should use their existing authorities to immediately enable the trading of digital assets at the federal level by providing clarity to market participants. And that's actually good. So we have a new SEC chair, also CFTC chair, commodities and futures. So this is just directing them like, hey, could you guys speed things up? And this is what we want you to do. When you do it, that's great. But right now, we just like you to do it. That's essentially what it's saying. This is the dictation. This is the rules. Also want to modernize bank regulation for digital assets. And also today, we're going to take a look at a partnership between, I can't believe this is happening, JP Morgan and Coinbase. And we'll talk about that in a second. But they want to modernize banking regulations. And I totally agree with that. And one of the things they state here is very true. You want to relaunch crypto innovation efforts to clarify permissible bank activities in custody, tokenization, stable coin issuance, and the use of blockchains. Now, look, the Genius Act came in a couple of weeks ago. That is the standard for what we're going to see with stablecoin. It's why on this channel, I've been harping on the fact of just look at the top stablecoins, Tether and USDC, and just take a look at the 3 or 4 top chains that are building on top of that. Of course, that would be Ethereum, BNB, Solana, and Tron. Those, I think, are going to be the winners, and they're saying it right here, push stablecoin issuance forward. Also, I didn't say this here, but it's really good when you have to back a stablecoin by a treasury or by the US dollar, which will thereby strengthen things. That's why they want to do it, and I'm totally for that. Again, strengthen the role of the US dollar. Allow the U.S. to move away from costly and outdated legacy systems. Did you know that the program that is used by banks to move funds around called SWIFT has been created in 1962? Correct me in the comment section. It is 60-some years that we've been using this, and it's abysmal. So they're saying, like, look, maybe in the next 60 years, we could get something a little bit faster. And that will be an outdated legacy system. On July 18th, 2025, President Trump signed the Genius Act into law, which creates the first ever federal regulatory framework for stablecoins. Congress should take additional action to protect privacy and civil liberties by passing the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. where that goes. I think we got that gone. And then combat illicit finance in the digital age by modernizing our anti-money laundering rules. Congress to reinforce the importance of self-custody and clarify the AML, anti-money laundering obligations of actors within the DeFi ecosystem. And finally, let's ensure everything's fair. Treasury and the IRS should reduce burdens on taxpayers. Treasury and IRS previously issued guidance on the tax treatments, and Congress enacted legislation that treats digital assets as a new class of assets subject to modified version of tax. So nowhere in here is it pretty much saying like, look, we're going to have this stockpile and we're going to use these specific ones. We're going to use these types of funding to get Bitcoin as strategic reserve and all that great stuff. So for me, I'm a little disappointed. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. It is what it is. And again, I think the market maybe is a little bit disappointed in that as well, on top of the fact that, unfortunately, Jerome Powell and the group that is said, no, we're not going to cut rates. And that's okay. Actually, before we get into this, you know that part here where it talks about anti-money laundering, combat illicit finance in the digital age? And it's like saying like, hey, we'd like you guys to do this and move forward. But you know who's doing a great job of bringing it up about the ugliness of anti-money laundering and the illicit activity of crypto? You know who's doing a great job of that? Elizabeth Warren is doing a great job with that. And she is just spewing it off. Now, I know people don't like her on this channel, but look, she's doing a great job. But you know who's doing a better job? My friend Andrew Gordon. He's a lawyer and an accountant. And he actually went to Elizabeth Warren's office. Take a listen to this. I love this stuff. This is what I'm talking about. Hold on. Let me make sure you can hear what Andrew is saying here. Let me stop it. I want to make sure you hear this right. Andrew Gordon, listen to this. About 55 seconds long.
Senator Warren, I'm standing outside your office because you've made it clear again and again, you don't understand crypto, and that matters a lot. You say crypto is all about crime, speculation, and pollution, but that's like saying the internet is just for spam and cat videos. You ignore the millions and the millions of Americans using crypto for remittance, savings, and censorship resistance. You ignore the small businesses that are building on this technology. We don't want chaos. We want clarity. Give us clear tax rules, clear definitions of what a digital asset is, and a legal framework to innovate safely in the US. Senator Warren, if you want to fight for the little guy, listen to us. Come talk to real builders, not just bankers. Let's fix crypto policy together. DM me. We'll set up.
And that's all you want to do, right? So my man Andrew, big shout out to him. If you want to follow on his plight to get Elizabeth Warren and the host of other senators that are not on board with what crypto is doing, I linked this specific post in the comments or in the description. You can follow Andrew and just give him some support. It means a lot to him. And I think he's doing a lot more than a lot of people are doing, which is actually going to Elizabeth Warren. And to answer the question here, God. Holy Macaroni says, did you say Elizabeth Warren's doing a good job? She's doing a fantastic job. And what is she doing a fantastic job of? Letting everybody know just how awful crypto and digital assets are for illicit activities, because we all know that the only thing that we can do with crypto and digital assets is to fund terrorism and to also fund the cartels. Of course, I'm being facetious. Holy Macaroni, what I'm saying is she does a fantastic job of getting out there and saying just how awful it is, and people believe that nonsense. So you got my friend Andrew here, who's picking up the flag and saying, look, you are clueless. Meet with us. Stop meeting with the bankers. We'll set this straight. Anyhow, let me know if that's not a bad idea to do. Let me know in the comment section. And then lastly, before we do a little Q&A, just want to talk about the macro environment, which is looking pretty good, actually. So this has been talked to death. I'm just going to go over this real quick in case you haven't heard about this in other areas. Yesterday, I didn't see job openings, but here we have it today. Previously, it was 7.7 million. The expectation was 7.5 million, but job openings actually came in at 7.4 million. So, roughly 100K below that. But then take a look at this. As far as employment goes, last month, it was negative 23,000. The expectation was 64,000, and now we're at 104,000. So this job openings negates essentially what this is. People are getting jobs. They are employed. Things are looking pretty good. They're adding those parts of the economy. GDP was negative 0.5% for the last quarter. And of course, the reason is because we were starting to import like crazy because we wanted to get ahead of the tariffs. That was the business that we're. Because of that, it was negative 0.5. The expectation for GDP was 2.3%. We came in hot, which is good. 3%. We'll take it. And this was interesting to me. Pending home sales, well, actually, it's not that surprising. Last measurement was 1.8. We expected 0.2. We're actually down negative 0.8%. And why? It's because the rates are high. Who wants to pay that much for mortgage rates? I think it's like 6.25 or 7.125. I can't remember. Correct me in the comment section, but it's very, very high. I think if you've taken a look over the last 5 years or so. So why would you buy a house right now? I'd rather just rent myself, but that's just me. So that's looking good. And then lastly, before we get to JP Morgan, Jerome Powell came out and said, hey, no rate cuts. But I found this interesting. There was a dissent in the Federal Reserve governors by 2 individuals. And that hasn't happened in 30 years. Fed holds rate study, but sees first double dissent in 3 decades. Who are those people? Well, they are, and this actually makes sense of why they did it. Either they really believe in it, which great, or they're just vying for another job. Fed Vice Chair of Supervision Michelle Bowman and Governor Christopher Waller, who are both in the running for President Trump's nomination to replace Jerome Powell, voted to lower those rates following an immense pressure campaign from the president. So look, if you're jockeying for a position as the Fed chair, no better way to get on the good side of Presidente Trump. Let's see how that works out as Jerome is set to step down in May of 2026, and we'll see how that goes. And lastly, JP Morgan. This is a crazy story. I did not have this on my bingo card. Just so you know, JP Morgan, bank, wealth management company, it's global. They had $4 trillion in assets under management. Let me say that again, $4 trillion in assets under management as of December 31st, 2024. This represents an 18% increase in the $3.42 trillion in AUM reported at the end of 2023. So when I talk about JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, it's not like I'm just saying some like offshot. I mean, we hear about it, but do we know how big they are? They're gigantor. And this just came out today. So JP Morgan Chase and Coinbase launched a strategic partnership to make buying crypto easier than ever. And before you say, well, we can already do that, Rob, that doesn't, who cares about that? I mean, we have Plaid. Plaid, if you don't know, when you go to a centralized exchange, it just uses an API integration, and you just use your bank account number and password, and you put that in, and now your centralized exchanges are connected to your bank. Very simple, right? Well, JP Morgan made that difficult, but they also gave some perks. What they're doing is, and now I know why Tyler Winklevoss is all ticked off. I'll get to that. So there's 3 things: direct bank to wallet connection, JP Morgan's secure API, not Plaid. Chase customers will be able to seamlessly link their bank account to Coinbase wallets. I didn't think you couldn't do that. This direct connection will help mutual customers transact with a confidence and privacy. Great. 2 more things. You get to now use your reward points in JP Morgan, which I don't have account there. But Chase customers will be able to transfer their Chase Ultimate Rewards points to their Coinbase account at a 1-to-1 redemption, and 100 points equals $1. So if you got like hundreds of thousands of points, now, of course, you're going to have like $10,000 in buying power. Good for you. This marks the first time a major credit card rewards program will be used to fund a crypto wallet. And then lastly, beginning this fall, this is kind of big, the ability to use Chase credit cards on Coinbase. For the first time, customers will have the ability to fund their Coinbase accounts using Chase credit cards. So if you got a credit card and you want to get ballsy, time to whip out that Chase credit card at whatever APY it is and start buying everything that you possibly can. Good luck with that. And like I said, now I get why Winklevoss was ticked off. He stated on 25th of July, actually 19th of July, I should say. He states, JP Morgan and the banksters are trying to kill fintech and crypto companies. That's not true. What they want to do is they want to, I can't say extort, it's a free market. They probably went to Coinbase and said, look, we're not going to allow you to use Plaid. You're going to use our API, and you're going to pay us. And you're going to get access to these 4 trillion assets under management, all our different banking customers. Do you want it or not? And they said, duh, let's do it. Winklevoss and Gemini are probably like, you crooks, you should have just paid to play. They want to take away your right to access your banking data for free via third-party apps like Plaid, like we just talked about, and instead charge you and fintechs exorbitant fees to access your data. This will bankrupt fintechs. Well, guess what, Tyler? It didn't bankrupt Brian Armstrong and Coinbase. So they're doing just fine. And who wins? Bankers win. And that's just pretty much what it comes down to. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. What we talk about is time sensitive. Now let's get into a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions and we go from there. Mr. Meaner says, they suck almost as much as Bank of America. I've never used Chase Bank, so I don't know. I have a great bank. It's USAA. When you're in the military, you get access to this, USA, and it's great. It's a fantastic bank. I've also used some other banks that do suck, and that's just how it is. But yeah. Rob, how are you feeling about August? Well, not great. I will tell you, I talked to Matt, lead analyst at Bitcoin Magazine Pro, and he had some pretty interesting things to say about how this time is not different. It's just repeating. And one thing we talked about was Bitcoin seasonality. And you can see that in August. And this is taking, and I think we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? Historical average monthly performance of Bitcoin, everything follows that. Monthly data set is from December 2010 to latest monthly close. So 2010, 15 years or so, 14 years. Can't go forward. And you can see here, well, I guess it was 15. So you can see that, July, May, April, March, February, not bad. January, August, one of the worst, but not the worst. The worst is actually September. September, historically speaking, is bad for traditional finance. It's bad for, well, of course, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. It's bad for us in the crypto market. It's bad for metals. It's bad. September is just not a great month. But then we see October and November, historically speaking, is pretty good. I don't care about August. I don't care about September. I expect things to go down. And I hope they do, because I would like to buy some really cheap stuff and then sell it to everybody, especially my friends and family who would not take my advice and called me a moron for investing in this internet nerd money so I can dump it on them. Yeah, that's what I think. All right. Not your day says, how do you tell the loved ones to get involved in crypto? There's like a 2 to 5 month wait period. Yeah, it's a good question. Not your day. And what I say these days is like, I'm just tired of even trying to convince anybody. So I'm kind of like a lazy outfielder in baseball. Like if there's a pop fly and it's coming to me, I'll catch it. But if I got to like sprint and lay out for it, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You get Bitcoin and the price you deserve, and you get altcoins definitely at the price you deserve. And I'm done. So if they want to come in, they can. And not your day. I would just tell you, there's nothing but pain and heartache waiting for you when you tell your family, because they don't have the mentality that you do, which is probably like, hey, I'm going to be around here for years, and if it goes down, let's buy some more and do this. And of course, I'll sell it because I'll DCA in, I'll DCA out. They don't do that. They look at it and say, hey, why the hell did it go down 5%? You lied to me. I hate your guts. So you can tell your family and friends, but they pretty much suck. Let's see. Show your family a chart of Bitcoin zoomed out. You can do that too. They still won't believe you. Now, 98% of tokenized real assets, stocks on Solana. That's pretty good. And Verhoofdy says the grim reality, and Verhoofdy's probably right. The grim reality of this market is that 95% lose money here. I think for us here, like I have got 75 to 80% of my portfolio in Bitcoin. I've done relatively well. I mean, quite honestly. And, I've done some altcoins and my friend Bobby's done some altcoins and some crazy stuff. And, we just follow the rules. And the rules are don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Everything's a scam. Don't use leverage. Don't use things on exchanges, and take profits along the way, because nobody ever went broke taking profits. Thus, when things double, we sell half and let it ride. If If it doubles again, we sell half and let it ride. And if it doubles or triples or quadruples, we sell that and let it ride. And at some point, it can't double or triple or quadruple, and then we get out. Those are altcoins. Bitcoin is the only exception. And I think it's going to do wonders. It just, I don't know when. That's the big thing. LAX guy is right. People will wake up when Bitcoin hits 200K. Somebody else said that too. It was, I think it was an MSNBC analyst, but they said once Bitcoin gets to 0.0 or 200K, that's when people start to pay attention. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure because I think when it hits, especially after 100K, you may have noticed that a lot of your normie friends didn't talk to you or ask you about it because I think they think it's out of reach. 100K. They're like, I can't afford a $100,000 car. How could I afford a $100,000 Bitcoin? I think one of the things we should do, and I should do this too, even though I hate doing it, is I should tell people like, look, you don't have to buy 100K of Bitcoin right off the bat. You can buy 20 bucks. And there's, 100 billion Satoshis for every one Bitcoin. It's like 100 pennies for $1. So, get what you want. So yeah, but I don't know. I think when 200K hits, I think people will look at that and they'll go, what else is out there? Ethereum? Damn, that's at $8,000. That's pretty pricey. What about Binance Coin? Damn, $2,000? That's pricey too. What about Solana? Damn, $1,000? And I think they'll just keep going on that list till they find something that they can afford and they say, oh, look at that. Dogecoin, I heard about that one. I think Elon Musk had, he did a Doge something or other, some kind of organization. Maybe that's his coin, so I'll just buy that. Again, they have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, that's right. The tsunamis. I saw in X that they were doing evacuations or going to higher ground in Maui and parts of the Big Island in Hawaii. So hopes and prayers for that one. Hopefully it isn't too awful. I think there was an 8.6 earthquake outside of Russia. And then, of course, then we have tsunamis. But yeah, on the Atlantic, on the Pacific, we'll see. Most people believe money in the bank is saving. That's a good one. And it's true. It's sad. We'll buy that. Yeah, exactly. Dogecoin market cap is impossible 200x. Yeah. Oh, 8.8 on the Richter scale. That's pretty awful. I think that's one of the largest earthquakes ever recorded, if I heard that right. CryptoJet says, heard the crypto cycle is delayed to 2026. Fair Chairman hodls our keys to freedom. It could come sooner. It just depends on if they're actually going to, first of all, how fast we're going to fire up that money printer. Are we going to do monetary easing and tightening? And also, I think this is a big thing to look at. Where did it go? The CME. For the next meeting, which is 17th of September, so we skip August, there's about almost a 50-50 shot of us doing a rate cut. So we'll see. I don't know why the markets were so hung up on this rate cut. They knew it was going to happen. I don't know why. Markets are irrational. I did hear that Microsoft and Meta had some outlandish returns, and that actually buoyed the markets themselves, even though they were going down, because people were expecting this mythical rate cut that wasn't going to happen. So I don't know. Oh, third largest. See, there you go. Wow. Inflation is transitory. Powell and Yellen. That's another thing. Wasn't the inflation just a little bit ticked up on the last PCE? I think we're going to get PCE again tomorrow. Is that right? Let's see. Tomorrow, which we will be doing the NFA Live. So that's with Ben in the Cryptoverse and Guy from Coin Bureau. We'll be on Guy's channel over at More Coin Bureau to talk about this stuff. And we'll see. Let's see. It's Wednesday. What are we going to get? Oh, yeah. PCE index and PCE year over year. Let's see if inflation is going up or not. And if it's going down, why didn't we cut? Although the same thing can be said is, well, the GDP is up and we have a reduction in unemployment. Jobs are filling. So the economy is pretty strong. Why would we cut? I think it would be to stimulate the economy, but isn't it doing pretty good? We'll see. All right. Oh, that's what it is. Thanks, LAX. Meta revenue of $47.5 billion, beating expectations of $44.8 billion. Great. And if somebody's got Microsoft, I'd like to hear that too. Actually, I think I own some Microsoft. Let's see. Holy macaroni. Oh, NFA Love. Ask Ben why he keeps talking about alt dominance and not Bitcoin dominance. Well, I mean, Bitcoin dominance isn't doing too bad. I mean, I think it's kind of zigzagging. This is the dominance. I always just keep this open to see where we're at. I mean, I think we're at above 60, almost at 61% again, the 30th of July. But again, I never thought that all the alts would blow up. I just thought there would be a select few, and some have done well, some have not. Most have not, I should say, excuse me. And that's it, I think. Oh, one more thing. If you're looking for a TANGEM wallet and you use the code, what is it? Friend? You get an additional, like if you use my code D.A.N, you get 10% off for your, not Ledger, TANGEM wallet. And they're going to give you an extra 5% if you just put in friend. Make sure that's right. Huh. I think they're full of it. Let me see here. Let's go to TANGEM. Yeah. All right. I just got this like right before the show. So I was like, let's get a TANGEM. Don't be cheap like me. I bought 2-card set and I lost one of the cards. Now I had to get the 3-card set, but I have multiple TANGEMs, so it's not so bad. All right. Okay. So let's do this. The code is mother friends or friend? And the code's already in use. Oh, there it is. So friends is 5% off. I guess I shouldn't have clicked the button too far. Yeah. And let's put in D.A.N. Oh, look at that. It does work. So you get 15% off today. Congratulations. That's if you want a TANGEM wallet. They're great. There's a link in the description. I show you how to use it, how to set up. Literally, easiest thing of all time. Get the TANGEM card. It's a 3-pack. Comes in a nice little box like this. And there's like 2 instructions. One is like open the box, and the second one is download this app. That's pretty much it. And Deep Future says, get a 3-card set last week with your code. Thanks, Future. I appreciate you. Andrew says, Rob, have you tried trading stocks on Kraken? Seems to wreak havoc on my ability to sync with CoinLedger. You should check it out. I would if they weren't checking up on my ID and trying to prove that I'm not a terrorist. I don't know what happened. I applied for that like 4 weeks ago. And as a reminder, Kraken is the only centralized exchange that I use. I totally walked away from Coinbase. Just didn't like how things were going over there. And I love it. It's really good. But as far as like the stocks, because I wanted to get away from Robinhood and just use it in one place, they still haven't approved me. I'm not a terrorist or work with a cartel anymore. So it's like, I don't see the problem. And lastly, let's just leave it here. Verhoofty says it right. Congrats to all who called the super cycle. Look, super cycle could still happen. I don't know. But as a reminder, we've seen these things before. Just remember that Bitcoin and digital assets are supposed to represent freedom. So if you don't have that freedom, maybe it's time to take some profits and get that freedom. That's up to you, though. I don't know. I'm not a financial analyst. That's it for today. So look, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. See you guys tomorrow on More Coin Bureau. We'll do the NFA Live, but that's it for this one. Thanks so much, everybody. I do appreciate you hanging out with me for 30 minutes. I'll see you guys in the next one.